Have you ever spent an entire night working hard on a school science project and when you displayed it the next day, the wiring didn't work? I'm sure most of us can relate to this tragedy. Those moments of sheer embarrassment when your crush laughs at your project while what kept you up the previous night was how cool you had seemed to her. Alright, enough nostalgia. Let's cut to the chase. Small-scale wiring fallouts can be embarrassing, but imagine that happens to your new Starship ready to take off. Pretty shocking, right? But that's exactly what happened just yesterday to Starship 31 that was about to launch. Before we tell you all the tragic stuff about what happened, I want all the space geeks to hold their pajamas for a while so we can help the newer geeks know what actually Starship 31 is. Starship 31 is a second-stage prototype of SpaceX's Starship vehicle, which plays a crucial role in the company's ambitious transportation system designed for interplanetary travel and colonization. The overarching purpose of Starship is to revolutionize space travel by making Mars colonization and other off-Earth missions economically feasible. The system comprises two primary components: Super Heavy. This giant reusable booster provides the initial thrust for Starship. It boasts an impressive 33 next-generation Raptor engines. Starship. Positioned as the upper-stage spacecraft, Starship is equipped with 6 Raptor engines. Recently, Booster 7, a first-stage prototype, achieved a historic milestone by conducting a 31-engine static fire test at SpaceX's Starbase facility in Texas. Although the goal was to ignite all 33 Raptors, the successful ignition of 31 engines represents a significant step toward an orbital flight attempt. Meanwhile, Ship 31, or S-31, the second-stage prototype, is located at Massey Outpost and is likely to fly alongside Booster 13, or B-13, during Starship Flight Test 6. Now that we've covered the basics, I'm sure you all will be hooked to know what happened on May 11th. Barely a day had passed since we heard about updates on B-11 and S-29, and there was Elon Musk spilling the beans on Flight 4's launch date. So what's the scoop? On 11th of May, SpaceX gave us a peek inside Mega Bay, revealing the hustle and bustle around the B-11 structure. Amidst the buzz, Elon Musk dropped a stunning photo that marked the moment B-11 began its trek from Mega Bay to the launch pad. Meanwhile, over at Mega Bay 2, S-29 was all set, itching to join its buddy on the journey. And let's not forget S-30, back in High Bay and buzzing with activity after nailing its static fire test. It's quite the sight, isn't it? Both Flight 4 and Flight 5 were immortalized in a single captivating image, but then John Krause threw a curveball with a tweet asking for a lowdown on Flight 4's schedule and goals right under Musk's tweet. Cool as ever, Musk replied it's likely a 3 to 5 week wait. The build-up to this flight, especially after the May schedule reveal for Flight 4, has been nothing short of electric. We were all a bit on edge when the flight hardware didn't budge for over a month, but now things are kicking into high gear and Musk has given the nod, confirming it all before diving back into the latest round of prep work. Elon Musk hardly ever gives up, and with this failure, one thing is certain: Musk is going to gear up and come back more prepared. Alright, let's dive into the launch timeline. Elon Musk's guess of 3 to 5 weeks hints at a June liftoff. If things go smoothly, we might see action as early as the first week of June, or perhaps a bit later, around the second or third week. This schedule means that Flight 4 could be hitting the skies just 3 months after Flight 3, trimming down the wait time from the previous gap between Flight 2 and Flight 3. So when do you reckon Flight 4 will soar? Feel free to share your guesses below, and let's see who nails the launch date. I'm betting on either June 9th, a Sunday, or June 16th. That would likely be 420 days since Flight 1 took off on April 20th. Ready to start the countdown? Elon Musk's recent update isn't just talk. We've seen real progress with the Flight 4 hardware. In the wee hours of May 10th, the booster transport stand rolled into Mega Bay, and by that afternoon, B-11 was sitting pretty on top of it. Meanwhile, S-30 made its way back to the production site, and B-11 strutted out of Mega Bay, flaunting its new hot staging feature, which was missing during its last static fire test. At around 10:10 p.m., it began its trek to the launch pad, arriving at the OLM by dawn on May 11th. S-29 wasn't far behind, leaving High Bay on the morning of May 10th and reaching Mega Bay 2 by the next morning, right on schedule with the road closures. S-29 then made its grand entrance at the launch pad, all set for a full stack and the upcoming wet dress rehearsal test. Speaking of tests, SpaceX has penciled in road closures from May 13th to 16th, each day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Plus, a Marine Safety Bulletin has flagged May 16th as a possible wet dress rehearsal day with the same 8 to 8 window. The days leading up to it are likely packed with prep work, though the test could happen earlier. Once the rehearsal wraps up, the last box to tick will be the FAA's green light. Let's keep our fingers crossed. SpaceX is knee-deep in paperwork, crafting detailed reports on the snags hit during Flight 3. They're tweaking their license and wrapping up the investigation, all while the FAA waits on the wings with a list of fixes to sign off on. Kevin Coleman from the FAA dropped a hint that the next Starship launch is on hold until they sort out the aftermath of Flight 3 and tweak the license for some new tricks up their sleeve. May might be the month everything gets tied up, but the FAA isn't making any promises just yet. Once they tick all the boxes, the FAA will roll out the red carpet with an official launch license and a shiny schedule for Flight 4. Elon Musk has his eyes on the prize for Flight 4, aiming to crank up the heat resistance, or better yet, beat their last record. Max heating is the buzzword, pointing to that make-or-break re-entry phase. Remember S-28's brief but fiery dance through the atmosphere? Well, it hit a snag with its heat shield, but S-29 is coming back stronger, sporting a revamped nose cone and a beefed-up shield system ready to laugh in the face of temperatures over 1500 degrees Celsius. Musk's playing it cool this time, focusing on outdoing their last shot as a secondary goal. But with the lessons learned from past re-entries, there's a good chance this launch will stick the landing. During an early April chat at SpaceX, Musk spilled the beans. S-29 is set to make a dip in the ocean, and B-11's joining the pool party. But here's the twist. Instead of a splashdown, they're eyeing a fancy virtual tower system for landing. The nitty-gritty of this tech is still under wraps, but we're all ears for updates. As Flight 4's launch license goes under the FAA's microscope, they'll probably want the lowdown on this virtual touchdown before they give the thumbs up. Stay tuned, space fans. SpaceX isn't just sitting on its laurels after Elon Musk's big reveals and the hardware leaves. The place is a hive of activity, especially with S-30's old test stand Pad B getting torn down. S-31, the star of the upcoming Flight 6, has made its grand entrance at the Massey test site, hot on the heels of S-26. But it's not all smooth sailing. During a chill cryogenic test, things heated up, with a fire igniting near the liquid oxygen tank, smoke and all. The early word is that some freight lines might have gotten too cozy with the fuel, sparking the drama. No pun intended, promise. Yet SpaceX is charging ahead full throttle. The buzz around S-30's tests were already electric even before Flight 4's farewell, and now they're smashing expectations. If the stars do align, S-31 could be the trailblazer, making history as the first ship to glide back to Starbase and stick the landing with the help of the mighty Mechazilla arm. It's a thrilling thought, and fingers crossed, we might witness the epic touchdown before the year's out. Are you pumped for what's next? Do hit that like button, spread the word, and subscribe to know more about what's coming up in the space race. Until next time, see y'all later.